Generally, women believe that the concept of beauty is something that can be imposed from the outside, but in reality, this is not the case at all. In fact, with some small, conscious, disciplined, and consistent habits in our lives, we can easily bring out the brightest and most radiant form of our feminine energy from within. For example, how you hold yourself, the tone of your voice, or even your smile can create a situation that makes you much more beautiful and irresistible than you might imagine. In this video, I will explain effective, guaranteed techniques that will allow you to manage your aura comfortably without ever needing the approval of others and be just as elegant and attractive. If you like, let's get started right away and dive into the details. 1. Consciously control your posture. As many of us know, our posture is actually the first message we send to the outside world. The confidence our body carries is noticed even before our face. By taking conscious and controlled steps and slightly opening our shoulders backward, we can easily convey the message, "I am fully present here," to everyone without even saying a word. Of course, this behavioral consistency not only enhances our beauty, but also significantly increases our psychological effectiveness. According to many experts, when the human brain sees a person standing upright and in control, it directly interprets this as a sign of youth, attractiveness, and health. Another effect of controlled posture is that it affects the appearance of our face. Generally, when our shoulders slump, our chin drops, and naturally, our face automatically begins to sag. This posture is the reason we have a tired expression. However, an upright posture keeps the chin at a natural level, the neckline becomes more elegant, and because the facial muscles are lifted upward, a woman's face appears more refreshed and younger. This is a biomechanical advantage that significantly enhances the youthful effect, especially in women of middle age and above. So, what I'm essentially trying to say here is that posture transforms not only your body, but also your face with a natural lifting effect. Most people don't know this, but posture also has an emotional side. People definitely start to feel the way they stand. When you lift and open your shoulders, your breath fills your chest more deeply and your nervous system calms down. For a woman, this means a more stable, stronger, and more balanced energy. In fact, irresistibility is often fueled not by physical appearance, but by the calm energy working beneath that appearance. A woman who consciously improves her posture not only beautifies the environments she enters, she also becomes the person who sets the rhythm of those environments. Furthermore, the effect of posture touches not only the outside world, but also the inner world. A straight body allows the muscles around the spine to work more evenly, which reduces feelings of fatigue. Because your energy is higher, your facial expressions become livelier, and your reactions become more refined. This automatically makes you more attractive in social situations. A woman with a self-assured body language inspires respect and admiration in others. This is proof that the body speaks louder than words. By the way, only 1 in 5 people who watch my videos subscribe. This naturally upsets me. If you click on the bottom right corner of the screen to change this situation, you will be doing me a huge favor, and we won't lose touch with each other. 2. Start practicing natural smiling to soften your facial features. One of the most effective and natural effects that can occur on our face is smiling. When we smile, youthfulness takes over our skin, warmth takes over our eye area, and liveliness takes over our overall appearance in an instant. When the smile is slight, that is, when the corners of the lips rise only like a thin arc, the face does not tense up. On the contrary, it softens and takes on a rested appearance. This shows that the younger, brighter look that people have been searching for years is actually possible with a very small facial expression. The most noticeable change on a woman's face is the lasting effect of this micro-lifting effect created by smiling. Psychologically speaking, a natural smile sends a non-threatening, inviting and calm energy to the other person. The human brain perceives whether the person opposite is smiling or not within milliseconds and creates trust, attraction or distance accordingly. For this reason, a constantly serious face is often misunderstood. The woman is actually tired, but her surroundings interpret this as coldness. However, a slight smile completely eliminates this wrong message. The woman becomes the person who controls the communication space. This explains why charismatic people are always remembered with a slightly smiling expression. Essentially, I want to tell you that the main reason smiling beautifies facial features is that it activates the muscles upwards. This micro-activation delays sagging in the lower face over time, prevents lines from hardening, and makes the face appear more symmetrical. This technique, which changes the energy of the face, especially in women after middle age, can be more effective than even the most expensive creams. Because smiling is a muscle exercise, when repeated regularly, it lifts the natural form of the face. This is a way to look young without the need for cosmetic procedures, which is completely under the woman's control. The most important part is this: an exaggerated smile looks artificial. A slight smile is natural and controlled. An expression that slightly softens the eyes and minimally curls the lips gives a woman a warm glow appearance. This expression makes you look better in photos, accentuates the three-dimensional contours of your face, and contributes to making you look fresher than you are. In fact, the common trait among the most attractive women in the world is not the warmth of their smiles. It is knowing when and how to use a smile. 3. Opt for minimal but strategic makeup that evens out your skin tone. What I particularly want to tell you as we begin this section is that minimal but strategic makeup is a subtle art that reveals a woman's face in its most natural state and enhances her beauty without exaggeration. The goal here is not to completely change the face, but to create a smoother, more vibrant and healthier appearance by evening out skin tone. A light concealer, a thin foundation, and soft touches to certain areas of the face dramatically enhance the image in the mirror. This is because people often find a well-groomed complexion attractive rather than a beautiful face. Therefore, minimal makeup leaves a woman looking natural while also making her appear more refined. Furthermore, when skin tone is evened out, the face looks more refreshed. Shadows disappear, expressions soften, and eyes stand out more. Especially in women over middle age, skin texture can have uneven tone transitions in places, which can signal fatigue. A light color correction restores the face's overall harmony and makes the person look a few years younger. This effect does not actually come from expensive products, but from a correctly chosen, fine-textured base and skin product. In other words, strategic makeup is the art of creating the greatest aesthetic difference with the least amount of product. As many people would guess, minimal makeup also has a powerful psychological effect. This is because while maintaining a natural look, it brings out a better version of the face, which makes women feel more confident. In front of the mirror, a feeling of "this is me but fresher" emerges. This feeling is reflected in the person's behavior, tone of voice, and even body language. Studies show that makeup that evens out skin tone makes people perceive the person in front of them as healthier, more energetic, and more successful. Therefore, minimal makeup is not only aesthetic, it is also a powerful tool that transforms social perception. Furthermore, the most powerful aspect of minimal makeup is its sustainability. Since it doesn't weigh down the face, it stays in place all day, doesn't settle into lines, and doesn't create an artificial mask effect. Moreover, women don't have to constantly check their makeup throughout the day because strategic products work in harmony with the face's natural oil balance. This ensures a fresh, clean and radiant look at all times of the day. It saves both time and energy. Beauty emerges from complex routines and takes on a simple yet impressive form. 4. Start visibly enhancing the radiance of your face by drinking 2 liters of water every day. Water, one of our basic needs, is a rhythm of renewal that the skin itself experiences. It is an inner radiance that allows cells to breathe, tissues to plump up, and even fine lines to soften. When a woman drinks at least 2 liters of water every day, it not only quenches the body's thirst, it fills the lower layers of the face, creating a natural glow. This is because the skin uses water directly as a source of youth. Insufficient water intake causes the face to become dull, lines to become more pronounced, and the undertone to turn grey. However, regular water consumption tightens the skin from within, providing a clarity as if a filter had been applied. This is one of the simplest yet most effective steps to beauty. When we start consuming water regularly and consciously, it creates a natural plumpness in the skin. This plumpness is particularly noticeable in women over 30 as a youthful glow. This is because as we age, the skin's ability to retain water decreases, leading to volume loss. Drinking water compensates for this loss, making facial contours appear rounder and softer. Fine lines become less noticeable, makeup sits more smoothly, and the skin appears brighter in photos. This effect is extremely valuable because it can be achieved entirely under the woman's own control, without any aesthetic procedures. I should also mention that water supports the clean functioning of the metabolism. Toxins that accumulate during the day and the burden created by processed foods form a veil that tires the skin. When enough water is consumed, these harmful residues are eliminated from the system more quickly and the complexion becomes clearer. Women often mistake dullness in skin tone for a lack of care. However, the problem is often not drinking enough water. Therefore, drinking water means cleansing, nourishing, and revitalizing the skin. Ultimately, the habit of drinking water is a sustainable beauty routine. It requires no cost and is not demanding. Consciously consuming 2 liters of water a day will, over time, make the lips appear fuller, the eye area more refreshed, and the overall contours of the face gain a healthier glow. A woman's natural beauty begins to shine through, even in its simplest form, because beauty starts from within. Water is the power that brings this inner light to the surface in its purest form. 5. Choose your hair color based on your skin undertone. The right color instantly makes you look younger. The truth that we all know but tend to overlook over time is this: hair color is the most powerful visual element framing a woman's face, because the right color illuminates the skin's undertone, softens facial features, and makes the overall expression more vibrant and fresh. Since the human eye first interprets contrast and light relationships when perceiving the face, the harmony between hair color and skin directly affects the perception of youthfulness. When the right tone is chosen, the skin's natural warmth is revealed, shadows are balanced, and the woman appears more rested and energetic. Therefore, hair color is not just an aesthetic choice, but a strategic beauty move. Furthermore, skin undertone is the fundamental factor that determines how hair color will appear. On a woman with warm undertones, honey tones, caramel, warm coffee, and golden highlights enhance the skin's inner glow. For a woman with a cool undertone, ashy browns, cool yellows, beige tones, and platinum highlights make the face appear clearer and more refined. When a color contrasting with the undertone is chosen, the skin appears dull, tired, and even fine lines become more pronounced. In other words, choosing the right color not only beautifies the face, but also reduces the appearance of age. In addition, hair color greatly affects how the skin catches the light. For example, a very dark shade that casts shadows around the face can create harshness, especially in women over middle age. However, a color that is a few shades lighter instantly softens the face. Most women describe this effect as, "They thought I had cosmetic surgery," because hair is the face's natural light source. The more accurately it is adjusted, the better quality light it provides. For this reason, professional hair designers determine hair color based on skin tone, eye color, face shape, and even personality. The most important part is that the most obvious effect of hair color on facial youthfulness is contrast management. The right contrast between the face and hair makes a woman look more vibrant. If the contrast is too low, the face looks pale. If it's too high, it looks harsh. That's why the right contrast setting is like a beauty filter for women. Many women notice that simply lightening their hair by a few shades or softening its tone makes their face look slimmer, more feminine, and brighter. This small touch creates a big transformation in appearance. 6. Move slowly in the environments you enter to significantly increase your energy of elegance. Especially when we think about this in our minds, for example, the way a woman enters an environment is a powerful effect that can even change the atmosphere of that room, because the human brain is sensitive to movement speed. Someone who moves slowly automatically creates an impression of control, confidence, and distinction in the observer, while those who move quickly appear tense, scattered, or flustered. A woman who moves with measured, deliberate steps becomes the person who sets the rhythm of the environment. This conscious slowness is one of the invisible but most effective layers of elegance. In such situations, women attract attention not by not rushing, but by managing the rhythm with their own calmness. Furthermore, moving slowly is not just about looking impressive in general. It is also a technique that regulates the body's energy. Keeping the shoulders slightly back, moving the head on a fixed axis, and taking steps in harmony with each other sends a "I am safe" signal to the nervous system. This signal even softens the facial expression. The face of someone who moves quickly appears harder, with more pronounced features, but the face of a woman who moves slowly naturally appears more aesthetic and rested. That is why elegance lies in the body's choice of tempo. Of course, let's not forget that slowness also creates mystery. This is because the human mind does not have time to analyze a person who moves quickly. However, someone who moves slowly successfully manages to attract attention. When a woman consciously slows her steps, the eyes of those around her unconsciously turn to her. This attention is transferred to her smile, her gaze, her posture. The woman creates a charismatic aura without even trying. The power of mystery comes precisely from this, making more of an impact by moving less. This is one of the most refined methods of irresistibility. 7. Create quiet confidence. Speak less, but speak clearly. Imagine a woman who says nothing but is very attractive and full of grace. This is only possible through quiet confidence. While most people in society try to exist by talking, a woman who speaks little but speaks to the point dramatically increases the value of her words. This is because the human mind automatically perceives the person who controls information and energy as more powerful. Therefore, speaking little is not a deficiency. When used correctly, it is a sign of superiority. When a woman chooses her words carefully, she attracts attention not only with what she says, but also with what she doesn't say. Irresistibility often grows in these silent spaces. Looking at it from a different angle, the biggest advantage of speaking little is the psychological effect it has on the listener. People perceive those who speak in short, concise sentences as more intelligent, more decisive, and more in control. This perception forms within the first few seconds. A woman who does not go into unnecessary details and does not struggle to explain herself sends the message, "I don't need to prove myself," to the other party. This message strengthens a woman's charisma, especially in social relationships, because confidence is expressed not only through a loud voice, but also through calmness, clarity, and posture. Furthermore, quiet confidence is a strategy that conserves energy. Talking too much often creates a sense of disarray, but talking less sharpens the mind. A woman first weighs what she wants to say internally, then clarifies it, and then expresses it. This method both reduces communication errors and makes the person feel more powerful. A deeper tone of voice, more settled words, and a more stable rhythm give the other person the impression of a balanced woman. Beauty is not only in the face, it also manifests itself absolutely in the stability radiated by the mind. 8. Improve your eyebrow shape with small touches every week. Our eyebrows are one of the quietest yet most powerful elements that define the architecture of our face, because I can say that, together with the eye area, they directly affect the entire balance of the face, the warmth of the expression, and the perception of youth. A properly shaped eyebrow lifts the eyes, makes the gaze appear more open, and softens the expression, boosting the woman's energy. Therefore, eyebrow shape is not just a visual detail, but a strategic element that determines the overall aesthetics of the face. Small and careful adjustments made every week preserve the overall proportions of the face and keep a woman's expression fresh at all times. Overplucking or neglecting eyebrows for a long time disrupts the balance of the face. Overly thin eyebrows make a woman look more tired and older, while unkempt eyebrows can obscure the power of the gaze. However, trimming just a few hairs each week preserves the shape and creates an aesthetic frame without altering the natural structure of the eyebrow. These small improvements are like a subtle touch that enhances beauty without disrupting the integrity of the face. Women gain maximum aesthetics with minimal intervention. The most important effect of shaping the eyebrows is the perception of youth around the eyes. When excess hairs under the eyebrows are removed, the eyelids appear more open, which adds extra brightness to the eyes. The brain codes eyes that appear open and clear as a sign of youth and health. Therefore, even just lightly cleaning the area under the eyebrows can make a woman's face appear several years younger. This effect is not an expensive cosmetic procedure. It is simply a properly applied skincare routine. Furthermore, another aesthetic aspect of improving eyebrow shape is that it supports facial symmetry. The human eye is sensitive to symmetry. Symmetrical faces are always perceived as more attractive. When the eyebrows are correctly aligned, the midline of the face becomes clearer, and the mismatches between the left and right sides soften. This creates an aesthetically pleasing result that is noticeable even in photographs. The harmony between the tip, start, and arch of the eyebrow becomes a subtle geometry that determines the overall elegance of the face. 9. Define your boundaries of self-respect. This instantly makes you attractive. I want to start by emphasizing a very important detail here. Defining your boundaries of self-respect changes a woman's entire energy beyond her outward appearance, because a woman with boundaries carries an aura of both confidence and selectivity. People automatically perceive those who can protect their own values as more attractive. If a woman knows what to say yes to as well as what to say no to, she sends a powerful message to those around her. I am not easily accessible. I value myself. This silent stance alone increases a woman's attractiveness several times over because self-respect makes even external beauty shine brighter. In addition, setting clear boundaries leaves its mark not only on human relationships, but also on aesthetic appearance, posture, and behavior. A woman who does not have strong boundaries often appears tense, anxious, or indecisive. This is because feelings of worthlessness are reflected in facial expressions, tone of voice, and body language. However, a woman who knows her boundaries moves more calmly, speaks more clearly, and displays more controlled body language. This aura is instantly perceived by the human mind as a signal of attractiveness. In other words, boundaries are an invisible but very effective beauty filter. Self-respect boundaries psychologically give women the power to choose. Women who choose manage energy. They are not managed, they manage. This power is noticeably influential even in romantic relationships. Women with unclear boundaries usually shape their own value according to the relationship. Women with clear boundaries shape the relationship according to their own value. This difference not only makes a woman attractive, it also makes her appear strong, intelligent, and in control. In the modern world, true attractiveness is precisely about this balance. Ultimately, clarifying boundaries is a sustainable beauty discipline. A woman who respects herself often looks better, makes healthier choices, behaves more gracefully, and builds more conscious relationships. Because someone who is aware of their own value does not allow any habits that will harm themselves. Over time, this is reflected in a woman's face, body, energy, and entire life. Let us not forget, true attractiveness comes from women who protect themselves, know their worth, and carry that value quietly but powerfully. 10. Create a more feminine and moderate energy by softening your tone of voice. As most of us know, tone of voice is one of the most powerful, yet least noticed tools that determines the energy a woman conveys to her surroundings. A soft, deep, and controlled tone of voice relaxes the listener, lowers the tension in the environment, and elegantly expands the woman's aura. The human brain associates a soft tone of voice with trust, warmth, and sincerity. Therefore, when you soften your voice, you not only create a pleasant sound, but you also present yourself as more feminine, calmer, and more attractive. This is an aesthetic that makes even the content of your words more powerful. Softening your voice means softening your energy. A harsh, fast, or sharp tone of voice often creates tension. It pushes the other person to be defensive. A warm tone of voice, on the other hand, facilitates interaction, makes conversation flow, and makes people feel close to you. This is because a soft voice sends the subconscious message, this person is not a threat, but a source of peace. A woman's beauty is not only evident in her face, but also in the emotional atmosphere created by her voice. This atmosphere is a powerful advantage in both relationships and social life. In addition, the aesthetic effect of softening your tone of voice cannot be ignored. A soft voice relaxes the facial muscles, making your expression appear clearer, sweeter, and younger. When speaking in a harsh tone, the face becomes tense, eyebrows raise, mouth corners tighten, and facial expressions become sharp. However, when the voice softens, facial muscles naturally relax. This micro-effect provides an aesthetic advantage noticeable even in photographs. A woman gains a more feminine glow simply by changing her tone of voice. 11. Keep your focus on yourself. Stop trying to guess what people are thinking. Generally speaking, the fastest way for a woman to lose her appeal is to constantly try to guess what others are thinking. Because as the mind focuses outward, it loses its inner energy, self-confidence becomes invisible, and behavior becomes artificial. On the other hand, a woman who focuses on herself maintains her natural state. Her movements become more fluid, her thoughts clearer, and her facial expression more peaceful. The human brain instantly recognizes and gravitates toward a confident person. Therefore, the most powerful way to attract attention is to focus inward, not outward. A woman who puts herself at the center appears both calmer and more radiant. I would also like to mention that trying to guess what others are thinking consumes a woman's energy and creates small tensions on her face, known as micro-tensions. These tensions are reflected in her facial expressions. Her eyebrows slightly frown, her lips tighten, and her eyes appear restless. This situation interrupts the natural flow of beauty. However, a woman who turns her focus inward unconsciously relaxes her facial muscles. This rejuvenates her expression and adds warmth to her gaze. In other words, when the inner focus changes, the outer appearance automatically becomes more attractive. This transformation is entirely psychological, yet it is an extremely visible change. Trying to guess what people think also creates a loss of control, because the woman begins to shape her own value based on external comments. This is the opposite of irresistibility, whereas a woman who turns her focus inward displays her behavior not to seek approval, but in line with her own values. This stance sends the message to those around her, "I know myself." People naturally respect women who have found their center within themselves and treat them with more care. This silent power is even more effective than aesthetic beauty. In fact, a woman who keeps her focus on herself appears more composed, both physically and mentally, because there is no unnecessary noise in her mind. She decides for herself what to say, how to behave, and what to feel. This clarity combines beauty with refined simplicity. There is no need for exaggerated behavior, because the woman's posture is already impressive enough. The profile of women who are seen as mysterious or charismatic in the eyes of others are mostly women who maintain their inner focus. This difference is easily understood from the outside, but difficult to imitate. 12. Make a clean, simple, and high-quality perfume your signature scent. A woman's scent is an invisible trace she leaves behind long after she has left the room. It creates a more lasting impression than her facial features, clothing, or makeup. Therefore, choosing a clean, simple, and high-quality perfume is not just an aesthetic choice. It is a strategic decision that represents your identity, energy, and posture. A signature scent is one of the most powerful elements that creates the feeling of "I remember her" in others. Because the human brain stores scents in deep memory, the right perfume makes a woman unforgettable, keeping her presence incredibly vivid in the mind. Furthermore, the power of a simple perfume lies not in complexity, but in clarity. Overly intense and dominant scents often create a feeling of fatigue and emotionally pull the other person away. In contrast, a clean scent has openness, freshness, and lightness. This allows a woman to radiate an energy that is both elegant and approachable to those around her. Minimal scents complement a woman without suppressing her naturalness. They act as an extension of her own skin. This harmony makes perfume an even more effective beauty tool than makeup. A quality perfume is not just about smelling good. It's about how the notes settle on the skin, transform over time, and adapt to the woman's mood. While cheap scents leave a sharp and artificial impression, a quality perfume unfolds slowly, deepens, and subtly reveals itself throughout the day. This subtlety gives others the impression of a meticulous, well-groomed, and selective woman. Because quality in perfume is a signature of a person's lifestyle. No matter how simple it may appear, it carries a serious awareness behind it. We must especially remember that making perfume your signature scent requires consistency and continuity. As people perceive you with the same scent at different times, that scent becomes synonymous with you. This creates a powerful memory bridge in social relationships. When someone senses your scent, your presence is revived even if you are not there. This invisible bond is a very powerful psychological effect that increases attractiveness, especially in relationships. Scent is a means of communication that leaves an impression even without saying a word. To summarize the whole thing, when all these techniques come together, the result is not just a more beautiful face or a more attractive posture. It is a woman's identity that rises from deeper within, knows her limits, influences with her calmness, invites with her softness, and draws strength from her own center. Beauty is no longer just a detail you see in the mirror. It becomes a wholeness that shows itself in your walk, your voice, your smile, your gaze, even the trace your presence leaves behind. Every small step you take, from choosing the right hair color to your water intake, from your tone of voice to your posture, from your boundaries to your smile, gradually makes you both more elegant and more irresistible. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care of yourself and see you in the next video. Remember, women are the ones with the power to change the world. Boldly forge your own path and savor every moment.